go. Good morning, guys.
I don't even want to talk. Somebody else do the intro.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for watching Canadian Mortgage Hangout this week. I am your host by default now because Gord's so pissed at the Canadian government and all the regulations that are wrapped around CASL, which is an acronym for we're going to hose every independent business owner in Canada. So thanks for watching live. You can find this in perpetuity at CanadianMortgageHangout.tv, or you can follow along on Twitter, with the hashtag CMHTV. We are joined by Scott Dawson live in Vancouver, Jackson Middleton live in Regina, and from the bowels of hell, Gord McCallum. Gord, why don't you just lead off the conversation? What do you think about CASL? Go. All right, so Gord's got nothing that's clean. He needs to simmer down a little bit. Let's just talk a little bit about CASL and what it means and why it's so annoying. So as probably most of you are experiencing, I'm getting about 3,000 emails a second from people that have put me on their email list without my permission, asking for permission to continue sending me emails that I don't want to get. The problem here, to kind of Coles notes it for everybody, is legit law-abiding customer service emails that we send out to our clients or our database from people that are actually interested in receiving email from us, i.e. clients with rate updates or current news about the industry or whatever in the market. It's so annoying to get people on board with acknowledging that they still want this information, and having a database of 5, 10, 15,000 people that you're keeping in contact with makes it so hard. And we were talking off air about the people that are bringing this regulations in, these laws in, it's all for all intents and purposes is great, because I mean, how many Viagra and Rolex emails do you need every day, right? But for businesses like ours, it's a killer. So why is it a killer? Gord's going to take some time to explain. It's not going to be safe for work, so if you have children around watching, make sure that you cover their ears. Gord.
When I used to play sports, if somebody on the other team did something really stupid or whatever, you could just hit them. I could hit them. I could put them through the boards or put them into the turf. Or that was what I loved about being a defenseman and a linebacker. I could do that, and it was within the rules of the game, and it helped me with my rage. I do not have that kind of an outlet anymore. Maybe CMHTV, maybe, but I promised my mom that I wouldn't swear, and I promised.
Great Edmonton reference, by the way. Good for you, Gretzky Messier. Good for you. I caught that. I don't know if anybody else did.
Huh? My mom? What?
No, well, he said Messier. I promised Mess I wouldn't cry when he left Edmonton. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Bueller?
That was, wow. All right. So I'm only smiling right now because it's just hiding the ball of rage in my stomach, and it's kind of it's like having a hiccup or something. It's an involuntary muscle reaction right now to the emotions that I'm feeling about this. I don't think it's any secret to anybody who's ever watched the show that I kind of lean conservative on a lot of issues. I would consider myself a conservative voter typically. So I'm just going to go right out and say that. I don't think that's a secret. But here's the thing. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is supposed to be everybody, people for or against a conservative government. They would typically accuse a conservative government of being pro-business, pro-free market, hands-off, less red tape. Like, those are the kinds of things that you typically run on if you're a conservative, right? For right or wrong. You can argue the merits of those another day. But that's typically what you would associate with a conservative government, hopefully. This is none of those things. This is none of those things. This is way more red tape for businesses. This is not a free market solution to a problem that many would argue doesn't even really exist in Canada. I know I'm repeating myself because we talked about this last show or 2 shows ago or something. We already know people have unsubscribed the ability to unsubscribe. If they don't have the ability to unsubscribe, there are free, easy to use software solutions to this that can get you off of lists. From a red tape perspective, I don't know if anybody else has only one way that they email people. Like, does everybody send all their emails through MailChimp? No. What if you happen to send an email through Outlook or through Gmail or through Hotmail or through, Google Plus, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, but you have the option to click a button and send an email to everybody to share your post on a Google Plus thing. That's not CASL compliant. Oops, I just cost myself $100,000. Like that. Slip of a mouse, maybe. There are so many problems with this legislation, and I don't think they took into account the amount of time we're spending on it. We're a small, our mortgage brokerage is like 6 or 7 people. We're a small business. I've got 2 of us who should be trying to build the business, grow the business, serve our clients, take care of them, train our staff, do all kinds of other important things. Instead, we're trying to figure out how to get freaking Zoho campaigns to talk to Zoho CRM, to accept a JOT form from this thing, and make sure that we're capturing all this information when there isn't a problem. We've been emailing the same 2,000 people for years, and every time we send an email out, one or two will unsubscribe, and we'll add a few more, and people haven't been complaining. If we were abusing that list, people wouldn't do business with us. They would unsubscribe. They would badmouth us. They would put negative reviews up online about us. They'd call the BBB. Whatever. There are solutions. And now we're wasting all this time. Forget about just the opt-in and the consent part of it, but the guilty until proven innocent part is really what drives me crazy as a law-abiding citizen. It's the burden that you got to have, you carry as a business owner under this scenario. Anyway, I'm getting really ranty, but I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to do anything about it because I don't know what can I do about it. It's out of the bag. Why isn't, who's lobbying on behalf of business owners on this subject? Who's going to the government saying, this is terrible, this is stupid, we talk about productivity. In Canada, there's a noted productivity problem, meaning that we're not getting as much economic output out of every single man, woman, and child that's out there working. Hopefully not too many children working, as we should, or as we could, or as other nations are. And yet, I wonder why. We're wasting time on this kind of crap. There, I'm done talking.
How do you really feel?
Gord, I'm glad we got you warmed up. Now we're going to really hammer you with some serious questions. Jackson, what do you think, man? You're Jackson and Scott. You're both in the heavily touching people. I don't know what that means. But content creation. See, I got Gord laughing. That was the main objective. So now he doesn't want to murder himself. Jackson and Scott, you guys create a lot of content. How do you see this affecting what you guys do? Reaching out to clients.
For me, it's not going to really affect. I don't really typically, because I do content creation on the websites, and on like Facebook and Google Plus. It's all kind of part of the package. I've never been a big email marketer, and to be honest, I have a small list of referral partners that we send, more so trade rate updates to. I don't send an email newsletter to people. I haven't been. Now that being said, our database through Variable Broker Base now starts to do that. But as we sign, I've kind of gone back and looked at people. Part of our consent form all along was one of the last questions is, do you wish to receive marketing materials from Verical Paragon Pacific Mortgages? And if they check that off and they don't, then they don't get anything, whether it's mail, whether it's nothing. So I'm not that affected by this. I had to go over the past database with the clients that I had turned on to Broker Base, but going forward it's quite easy. If it's a consent form, I just don't sign them up. One button. I don't have to push a button, so it's
Scott, okay, I know you say you're not affected by this, but what happens when somebody complains? You send them an email, you think it's innocent, it's not a commercial electronic message, you send it to them directly, they file a complaint. Now you're affected by it. Why are you affected by it? Because they don't have to prove anything.
Yeah.
You have to prove that you had their consent. You have to prove that it wasn't a commercial message. You have to prove that you tracked their IP address and their freaking whatever. Not only that, but like I'm talking about all these different systems, right? We don't communicate with people through one giant email platform. You've got multiple ways to send emails to people. That's been the nature of technology's evolved that way. So we made it really easy. The software companies have made it really easy to email people just about anything. What if you email somebody a link to I don't know. I'm gonna make up this.
I guess for me, these and this is I know the frustration you're getting, but I mean these laws and rules have been made for it's like we're all getting painted with the same brush, right? So we're affected by it. Yeah, I mean I am affected by it if I send something maybe to somebody if I send it by mistake maybe. What if I you type it in the email and you send it to the wrong person? That's happened before. Can that come back at you? So I mean there's obviously things to consider, but I've never from my kind of guess is that they're trying to go after the people that are blatantly spamming people with stuff, and I've never ran my business like that. I've never had signed up people to an email newsletter just because I met them over coffee. They're not going to start getting crap from me. So I actually don't have that much of a concern with it. Maybe I'm a bit naive, but I don't.
Well, let's talk about the. Go ahead, Jax. Go ahead.
Well, no, I just got to throw in that. Initially when I was looking at this, I kind of didn't think there would be a lot to do, but as Gord and Tracy have been going through more, it's more of getting all of the systems talking, because we do a lot of the automated follow-up. It's to make sure that we don't miss anything. We've got several systems. We've got the different email systems, the lists that we've got in different places, and making sure that everything comes together nicely before this deadline is really important. But I think moving forward, the big issue is going to be having a plan. And if you're a business owner and you just don't have a plan, and something happens, then you're in trouble, because they'll say, "Well, show me what are you doing to become CASL compliant?" Then you're kind of hosed. But if you're a company and you're now building your list, you've taken everybody off your list that didn't give you permission. Basically, it's like we're starting from square one again. We're building that list, we're getting opt-in, we're getting the consent, and we're changing our business practices. Now, we're not really having to do much, but if you're somebody who has been sending unsolicited emails, you're in a really ugly place because you've relied on that to build your business. Now, if it wasn't effective, people wouldn't do it. But obviously somebody is out there answering those emails. I mean, I've got a friend who works in the division of the RCMP who follows up with people that have been scammed by the Nigerian prince email scam. We think that's crazy that nobody would ever listen to that. There's a division that follows up on those. So yes, obviously there's something there. It's frustrating that I feel like the good businesses are getting, attacked. I agree with Gord that it's kind of like, come on, we're not doing anything wrong. Anybody who's probably spamming anyways is not doing it from Canada, so they're typically exempt anyways. But, how do we bring this back to how can we, what message is there for small business owners to protect yourself? And it's have a game plan. It's don't contact anybody without permission. Do all the work to make sure that you consolidate and then grow from there and show that you've done it and show that you've got a plan. That's pretty much all you can do.
I think you're going to be hard. I could totally understand where Gord's coming from. I totally understand where Gord's coming from when you've got multiple platforms, you've got multiple touch points. To be contacting a client through a CRM or through Outlook or whatever. But I do think, although I think it's insanity that these measures are being taken across the board with a broad stroke, I agree with Jackson. I think if faced in front of a committee or a judge or whoever for some Yahoo that's actually going to sue you for $100,000 or a fine that's going to be imposed, I think you just have to make sure you do your due diligence and say, look, speaking about Gord, look, we have our CRM, we have our analytics here that show we sent out 4,000 emails, 3,948 of them were delivered, and 90% of those were open. We sent that same email 5 times. Most of them are delivered. We show that we're trying to do what we can do, and we took people off the list. And I don't think that anybody's going to stand there and go, no, you're a douche. We're going to charge you. I don't think that's going to happen. And if that does happen, oh boy, man, the floodgates. So let's do like a quick cost. Yeah. I'm thinking go ahead, Gord.
No, I realistically, Rob, I'm all fired up right now because I'm in the middle of trying to make this work, right? Because I'm trying to comply. Here's the thing, okay? Governments enact all kinds of laws all the time. They do it in an interesting way because they often do it in response to a problem. So somebody at some point in time, probably 7 years ago, said, hey, you know what, spam's a problem. Let's do something about it. And they're like, yeah, we really should figure that out because government's the only solution to every problem. And they said, let's work on that. And it took them 7 years to figure it out. Meanwhile, everybody has created an unsubscribe mechanism. Everybody has better list management. The technology is 100 times better. People who were spammers, known spammers are getting blacklisted by internet service providers already. They don't want that stuff going through their system. Gmail, Hotmail, all these major email systems have solutions. They're all there. The solutions are there. This is a solution that's 5 years too late to a problem that doesn't exist, especially amongst Canadians. These are not Canadian companies spamming Canadian people. They just aren't. When was the last time? Tell me the last time you got an email you didn't want anymore, and you couldn't get rid of it, automatically or manually.
I've got a great story. Somebody in my city put me on their email list. A couple years ago, and I noticed recently that through other communications that they were also sponsoring a charity golf tournament, and I started getting charity golf tournament emails, not through their original subscription that they signed me up for, a completely new subscription for the tournament. I unsubscribed to the golf tournament. I got another email a week after for the golf tournament. So obviously, they put me back on the list. The difference here is, that's a one-off kind of, we don't really see a lot of that anymore because of these systems that are in place, but that is a dick move. Okay. They've obviously...
That's fair. And so there is a small percentage of people out there who are complete douchebags who are going to do whatever but you know what? They're never going away. I've got news. News for the people writing the laws is that there are people who will break every law you put in front of them. Sometimes there's a serious event, something that goes on, and they're like, we need more laws. They broke 15 laws to do what they did, and you think one more? You know what? If we had only had this one law, they wouldn't have done it. Are you serious?
And you know what? How easy is it for somebody to sign up to? Let's say I buy a list of 5,000 people. I sign up to MailChimp.
Yeah.
I CSV upload my contacts. I send out these spammy emails. I get shut down. I get shut down by MailChimp or Google or whatever. How hard is it for me for a week later to sign up a new account under a new name and a new email address, upload the same CSV file, and send out the same email? How hard is it for me to do that? I can do that overnight. I guarantee you. Same file.
It's also funny, Rob. Actually, did you have lunch with that realtor and hand them your business card, or not realtor, whoever it was?
I had some decent communications with them in the past. Never a working relationship, just initial. Initial
well, here's the thing. If you look at the letter of the law, and correct me if I'm wrong, but on the CASL compliance, if you put your email address on your business card without a CASL, you're now handing out your email address to be communicated with consent. So by publishing it online or on your business card, you hand your business card to somebody, you've now given them permission to contact you so they can market and spam you. So unless you have a line that says, please no spam, all email opt-ins CASL compliant.
I didn't.
Crazy.
I didn't know that. That's interesting.
So it's not even hitting the root of the problem that we would look at in that people signing us up to email lists. If you publish your email publicly without a disclaimer, you're free game.
Yeah. So the advice I give you is Google the person's email address and make sure that you document that, the search results. If you can find their email address online, you win. But we don't want to have to go around the law, right? If the law wasn't written in such an asinine way, we could just, I'm sure most business owners, including us, we want to comply. We want to do things right. We want to take care of people. We don't want to harass people. If we harass people, we would be out of business. That's the market. The market reality is if you run a douchebag business, typically you go out of business. If you abuse people, if you phone them every day, the same thing, right? Well, what's next? The phone registry? Are we going to have to? I know there's a new do not call list that they can't enforce because it's companies from outside the country abusing that. What's next? Are we going to have permission to shake hands going forward? We're going to have to be tested for communicable diseases before we bump elbows in the mall? Where does it end?
I got a question. What do you? Not to cut you off, Gord, but I agree with you. But what are any of the major brokerages in Canada doing? Have we noticed any communication from any of the brokerages? Have we seen CAMP do anything? Because are all the systems in our industry compliant? Moving forward, is there any big charge that I'm just completely unaware of?
From Verico, we're getting emails almost every day now, just following up with how to make sure you're compliant with the stuff that gets sent out through broker base, and just reminders, I guess, for people to go through and check that make sure that they're going to be compliant.
That's a big burden actually for business too, is just the training portion of it, right? Because you could completely have your systems compliant, you could have all your staff compliant, you could have your opt-ins and opt-outs ready to go, your forms and everything else. But if you don't train your staff, if they're not paying attention, then you'd be just as liable. So that's a big.
Well, there's probably I can imagine there's probably tons of people that don't even know about it. Have no idea that it's even. Yeah.
I've been to the business breakfasts and stuff like that, and a lot of accountants, people in my networking groups, realtors, don't have a clue. They don't have a clue. If you don't have an industry association that's been harping on you about this for a little while, in most cases you're not sure what's going on. And even if you do, we know how many of those industry association emails get ignored. Lots of them. So, yeah.
It seems to me that this is pretty shotgunny, though. I don't think that am I incorrect in assuming that or saying that it seems a bit shotgunny to me? This hasn't been like a 6-month or a year process. It's just been the past 2 months. It's really kind of come to the forefront.
Yeah, that's true. It's come to the forefront in the last couple of months. The truth is, I think we first heard about it about a year ago, and then there was supposed to be, the way it was written before was worse.
Of course.
It was it was going to be basically you might as well just lay down in front of the train because it was that bad. But they went back to the drawing board apparently in response to some of the criticism of it and fixed it or changed enough to get it by. But everybody was kind of sleeping on it, and I think it caught a lot of industries and businesses by surprise.
Well, Let's shift gears here a little bit, and I know I've had this conversation a little bit with Rob the past couple of weeks after coming back from the Vegas conference. How can obviously if we can't solicit electronically as much to people anymore, what can we do then to the flip side of that, right? I think it's an opportunity to look at your business, look at how you're marketing, look at how you're getting in front of new people, following up with past clients. It probably gives you a good opportunity to be more one-to-one with someone on the phone, send out more actual physical mail and letters, like we were talking on the phone, I found out that a stamp costs 85 cents. You know, it's been so long since I bought a stamp. So there's maybe some opportunities there because of this, to help your business build going forward. I know a lot of us, we're online. Gord, you're getting a lot of, it's obviously your business is a lot of it's coming from online, but for a lot of people, maybe that's that opportunity to shift that in a way and be a little bit more one-on-one and a bit more personalized to people.
Yeah, progress. Just the way people want. We see all kinds of stats showing about how people want to do the research online, they want to engage online, they want to apply online, they want to do all kinds of stuff because it's convenience for them, and it's a time saver for them, and that's the direction the world is going. And now a big part of the ease of communication with those people is being taken away. So.
I think, you know what, I really think that although it's a serious law and a serious measure, I think right at the onset, if it's scripted well into your approach and your pre-qualification with people in the contact method, especially on the good old talk box, you know, like, hey Gord, thanks for calling us. We'd love to get started on your file, just so that we're sure that we're compliant and that we respect your privacy, but also not pestering you. We're gonna send you a link. Can you just hit that link and confirm blah 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 blah, right? I think if it's at the onset, and we're obviously talking about the bulk of Gord's frustration isn't about new clients. That's easy. It's about the 28,000 people you have in your database already. That's hard, because who opens up email and who actually replies back right away saying, yeah, it's all good, right? That's the major frustration. Moving forward's always easy. Oh, okay, well, this is what we got to change in our process. Done. It's a form, it's a consent form, it's something, and it's done.
Rob, there's lots of different, the burden of proving that you have that consent is so high and there are so many different ways you have that initial contact with people, right? It's not as easy. If we're having a phone conversation, what are we required to?
Do you record? Do you record your calls, Gord?
Yeah. Are we going to record the call? What are the privacy implications of that? Then there's labor involved, right? So I got a phone call, I get a manual submission, or I have a conversation with somebody, and they say, yeah, I consent to that. Okay, well then I have to have either me or somebody else go into this system, or 2 or 3 systems if they're not communicating with each other, if they're not integrated, and change all that information. Now, it sounds like a small thing, but think about the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of borrowers out there, or clients of every business. This is not just a mortgage problem. This is every business in the country is going to be diverting labor from serving people, from producing economic goods and services, from selling those goods and services, from producing tax revenue for this government, and they're going to be diverting that to checking a box. I can't believe it. It's such a waste of time. Waste of time, waste of money, waste of effort for a problem that really wasn't a problem. And it won't stop the real spammers. It won't stop them. No. It will not stop them, I guarantee you, because somebody's going to be in the States or the UK or Nigeria or wherever, and they're still going to be sending those emails. I guarantee it, because it's not enforceable outside these walls.
So if you have a database of 15,000 people and you physically sent them something in the mail, you totally got away from sending them an email with a link. Let's go old school. You sent them something in the mail that cost you 85 cents for a stamp.
Yeah, you noticed the price of stamps on it too. Just before this came out, timing.
Yeah, timing. And in that envelope is already a prepaid envelope to come back to the brokerage. So all they got to do is, sign or whatever. If they actually do that, you're looking at like $25,000 at the very least. That's a lot of money. Never mind the resources of sending the mail, opening it up, having staff there to field the calls. What am I getting? I don't understand this. It's a gong show. I think Gord's right. If I had a gong, I'd put the robe on and I'd turn around and bang the gong. So,
well, on a brighter note, let's look at this. The government doesn't have the resources to go after people who are engaging in mortgage fraud. Mortgage fraud is huge and costs the country I would say millions, if not billions of dollars. We are in a really, really ugly spot with mortgage fraud, and I think the task force is 2 guys and a kindergarten kid. So how much resources can they actually put towards going after people to become CASL compliant? If their priorities are straight, we'll see. But I mean, yeah, I don't think they've got I don't think they've got the resources to go after. It doesn't mean don't be compliant and don't follow the rules, but I don't think we'll ever see anything from it. They're not going after anyone.
Well, that's a whole other issue that's just going to get me even more fired up. But like you're right, the burden of trying to enforce the law in this country. I mean, there are people who get away with stuff all the time and who, in my opinion, are far greater offenders than somebody who sent me an electronic message that I can easily delete or unsubscribe from.
So,
you know, maybe my priorities are out of whack, but I think, you know, you could certainly argue that there are lots of higher priorities for our government and the enforcement agencies to go after.
as is always the case. I think we're at time here, guys, and Scott's got to run out and rent a caravan to drive across the country and to pick up Gord and Jackson and myself as we make our way to Ottawa and camp out on the front lawn of Parliament, because we know that that's going to solve a problem.
We'll do the show live from Parliament Hill.
Parliament Hill.
As long as we shout louder than everyone else, that's how you get your voice heard. Just shout louder.
Yeah, we'll be broadcasting live next week from Parliament Hill with an RCMP's boot on my neck. So with that, folks, if you have any questions or want to tweet us, hit us up on Twitter with CMHTV. He's got a hashtag Stop CASL. Yeah.
Campaign starts now.
Campaign starts now. Thanks for tuning in. As always, it's a pleasure to have you with us and watching at Canadian Mortgage Hangout.tv. And have a great rest of the week, everybody, and a good weekend.
Thanks for letting me.
And a great long weekend too, Canada Day long weekend. And with all the negative we just spat out, we also do have to realize we do live in the best country in the world. So happy Canada Day, everybody, and goodbye.
Goodbye.